Hey guys, welcome to Mintac. This is Chris. I have got something new for you today. As you know, I am always building something new, mostly ARs. Built a Glock one time, probably built some more of those, but this is something very traditional. This is a 50 cal muzzleloader. This is a Traditions St Louis Hawken 50 cal muzzleloader. So stick around, we're going to learn a little bit more about this. Kind of accuracy we can get. All right, what do you think? We're probably, what, 30 yards away?
Probably.
30 yards away, first shot right here, so not too bad. All right, here we go, shot number 2. Set the trigger. Take aim. I think that was a dead-on bullseye. All right, there's shot number 2. I would say we're pretty set up. That trigger is just amazing. All right, so as I said, this is the Traditions St Louis Hawken 50 cal muzzleloader kit. Now what I mean by kit is it actually, you purchase the kit as comes as a stock, and all the pieces, everything is set apart in their own little boxes. And you actually have to put this thing together and do all the staining and put the clear coat on. You actually have to blue the barrel. So it takes a little bit more than what you think. Now traditionally I've done a lot of different ARs, and I can usually get an AR typically done in a day. If it does not require paint, usually I can get them done in probably 5 hours total from put together, or I should say from doing the 80% to the assembly of it. So this thing, however, takes a little bit more time. It was about a week straight, probably 2 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day. I know I spent quite a bit of time on a Sunday doing a lot of sanding, doing a lot of the pre-assembly. So some of the things that to be aware of is everything comes as a parts and pieces. The lock here does come together, so your hammer is together. All your springs inside are together. The only thing that you have to do with the stock itself is you'll have to do a little bit of sanding to make sure that your lock fits flush inside of the stock there. Otherwise, you're doing a lot of sanding. You're doing a lot of metal work. For instance, the butt plate, it was too high on one side and too low on the other, meaning I had to do a lot of sanding on the stock over here, and I had to do a lot of metal work filing down the butt plate. I also had to do some filing down of the patch box over here to make that fit flush. I did have to do a little bit of, I used a Dremel and had to sand down parts of the inside of the lock just so that my barrel lug would fit inside of there. So I had to do that. Barrel, I had to blue that. That took only took about a half an hour to 45 minutes to do that. But like I said, there's a lot of sanding inside to make sure that your barrel fits down nicely. I had to do some filing work on the the front nose piece here to get that to fit flush. And otherwise, yeah, I had to do a little bit of drilling work on the underside of the trigger. Now, some people are going to ask, how come there's a double trigger here? Well, when you pull this back, pull the hammer back, this is actually the secondary trigger is a set trigger. Heard that click? That just puts the trigger into like a hair trigger mode. So if I barely touch that trigger, it's going to go off. Okay, so just be leery of that. You're always going to pull your secondary trigger first, and then your primary trigger. What that was used for is it really increases your accuracy for this rifle. So anyway, I went with a dark traditional stain to make it resemble what they would have used way back in the day as far as color. And then I just hit it with some, I hit it with a spray coat, I think of clear coat, and it came out really nice. One thing that I was not impressed with was the plastic sights. It is a rear plastic sight. It does adjust for windage and elevation, and a front tang sight. They are polymer. Now, I didn't know how they would hold up, what the accuracy would be like upon shooting this thing, but I have to say, even though they're polymer, I was actually very impressed taking them out to the range. So I've got some shots here coming up regarding to first shots getting this to the range to see what kind of accuracy we got, and then I just recently used this along with 5 other guys. Went through a shooting competition at a national rendezvous event. Now, a rendezvous is a period of time between 1776 and 1876, I think. Anyway, so your trappers, your hunters, your colonials, your patriots. So think of that time period. But they had games where they would get together that involved black powder, tomahawk throwing, knife throwing, archery, those kinds of things. And like I said, one of the events was black powder. So I'm going to show you some footage from a 16-stage black powder event from the national FCF rendezvous. I actually did really darn good. I got 15 out of 16 targets. I missed one of the targets. I hit all the tiebreaker targets, but because I missed the one primary target, it kind of put me down in a lower bracket. So I got 5th out of, I think there was like 200 shooters, but did pretty good. There was a log chain that was hanging down from about 20 yards that you had to shoot. That was a tiebreaker. I hit that. There's a dinner triangle like in the Old West where you ding that thing. I hit that. That was probably 15 yards out, and then 15 yards out for 15 or 20 yards out for a vehicle suspension spring. You know, they're only about this thick and they're coiled, and I hit that. So if I would have hit that primary target, which is like a little, it was like a little 6-inch gopher sitting out in the bushes, I would have been in contention for 1st and 2nd place. So this rifle performed excellent with all 5 guys that were shooting it. In fact, my friend who was also there was shooting it, and he qualified and made it into the final round and got 3rd place with it. So very impressed. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please leave comments. Subscribe if you have not. I do all kinds of starting to do all kinds of different videos, mostly gun. I might get some knife videos going and stuff like that, but hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, like I said, leave them in the comments. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.